Yo, 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 what it do? It's your girl Jay, the High Priestess, back at it again with the new moon in Sagittarius general tarot reading. Normally I word that differently, but it is what it is. Um, I know it's been a minute since we've done a blind side. Normally we do the blind side where we look at the dark side of the new moon. I'm doing that a little bit in these questions, but it's not an official blind side, but it's coming back. I'm feeling it again. It's okay. We're gonna make it work. Anyway, when it comes to Sagittarian energy, we're talking about inspiration. We're talking about the motherfucking eternal optimist. We're talking about philosophy, travel, this kind of happy go lucky vibe. We're talking about glass half full type shit, you know? And I want you to keep that in mind when you're thinking about your manifestations or when you're thinking about the intentions that you're wanting to set. Because it's giving all or nothing, baby. All or nothing. Go big or go motherfucking home. The truth is required. And when it comes to the Sagittarius arrow, what are you aiming for, babe? What are you aiming at? And then, like, what are you aiming for? Ooh, because there's a difference there. We're going to go back to the like handful of custom mottos that we have. Do your actions match your ambitions? So, your actions are where you're aiming at currently. But is that really what you want to be aiming for? Think about it. This new moon in Sagittarius is happening on December 1st, 2024 at 1:21 a.m. Eastern Time, 11:21 p.m. Mountain Time, and then 10:21 p.m. Pacific Time. And it's happening at 9 degrees Sagittarius. So you know I got to hit you with a handy dandy Inside Degrees by Elias Lonsdale. Ooh! Mercury is retrograde and I can just feel it already with the stutters. Y'all already know the only planet that I have debilitated is Mercury, and he's in Pisces. And which I personally love Mercury in Pisces. It's like very dreamer poet vibes. But I always can feel when he's retrograde, and he's retrograde in Sagittarius right now. The sign of I understand. This is the season of I understand. I went right to it. Thank you. Hydrate, light it if you need it. Pinky out. Actually, let's just go on ahead. Pray. Welcome in. Clear out that funky ass energy. And welcome in my benevolent ancestors, Mother God, Father God, Mother Earth, thanking you for the most useful, helpful, and divinely aligned messages for this new moon in Sagittarius 2024. All right. So Elias Lonsdale's description of the 9th degree of Sagittarius is a man with green skin. He is dressed in leaves. You never know with this guy. You never know. Playful, exuberant, spontaneous, and elusive. You are restless under constraint, with all of civilization representing constraint. Desperate to be free. When not held down, you have spectacular abilities and affinities. But when bound by time, you become abrasive and provoking, temperamental in extreme ways, aching for free movement in a vast territory, drawn to every extreme that exists, the body and soul of one who can never be identified, tamed, narrowed. You are the one who knows how the deep earth is surging with volatile currents, and these bear all hope and promise if they are followed with open arms. The one who shows everybody what life is like, excuse me, the one who shows everybody what life is like when it lets itself go and contagiously ripples with permission and encouragement for each and all to come out and play and explore the far edges, and even perhaps over those edges into greater wilderness. claiming the allegiance of those whose wildness is no passing whim, but the only viable one. Let me read that last sentence again. Claiming the allegiance of those whose wildness is no passing whim, but the only viable way. Claiming the allegiance of those whose wildness is no passing whim, but the only viable way. I feel like that's like the most real, like, core essence of me. Claiming the allegiance of those whose my wildest is no passing whim. And that's some fire sign shit. I understand that. And there's something about finding that wildness inside of you, or reclaiming or reconnecting to that wildness inside of you. Because it doesn't need to be a passing whim all the time. You got this one life in this beautiful body, baby. You better live it up and be motherfucking wild. Like, and I feel like feral. What does that look? What does feral look like on you? Play with that a little bit. There was a lot of good little gems in here. Playful, exuberant, spontaneous, and elusive. You are restless under constraint, with all of civilization representing constraint. How is restraint manifested in your life? In what institutions, in what connections are you having to adhere to some kind of constraint? Desperate to be free. What are you desperate to be free from? Especially with Venus going into Aquarius this season, it's time to get clear. What are you desperate to be free of? Venus is attracting in freedom and independence and the future and hope and wishes and friends in higher places. And so it's about to go down. Aching for free movement in a vast territory. There's a thing about like breaking free and feralness and wildness that I feel like this Sagittarius, this new moon in Sagittarius is going to be generating inside of us. And I feel like we're already feeling it. And I feel like you already know. What do you, that free movement, how can you give yourself that free movement, and in what ways can you give that to other people? I have given so much freedom to so many people in my life. It's kind of just to like let them. You want to go do this? Go do it. Let them. Like, I don't need to, and it's not even a matter of I have to let you do it. It's just like, this is what you want to do? Do it. Bet. You know? Like, there's something there about, what are you aching for? In what areas are you aching for freedom? A lot of us are going to say financial freedom. Yes. And if financial freedom is the answer, then it is time to get really clear about what skills or talents do you need to develop, or gifts do you need to develop, so that you can go ahead and shoot your shot and reach for that financial freedom. Drawn to every extreme that exists. This is where Sagittarians get in trouble. Being ruled by Jupiter, so Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, whichever y'all are watching this, Jupiter is a planet of abundance. He wants to give. He is a benefic. He wants to like give you all these things, but that's also how he tests you. It's like, do you know how to go to this all you can eat buffet? Do you know when to stop eating? Do you know how to go to the open bar? And do you know when to take the last shot before your ass is praying to the porcelain god, you know? Like, There's always something about extremes when it comes to Sagittarians, and like knowing their limits. And so you may be in a position where you're attracting in a lot of things, and you got to know what your limits are. What are your limitations? What are your boundaries? The one who shows everybody what life is like when it lets itself go and contage. The one who shows everybody what life is like when it lets itself go and contagiously ripples with permission and encouragement for each and all to come out and play and explore the far edges, and even perhaps over those edges into greater wilderness. A man with green skin, he is dressed in leaves. If you want to check that out and read it for yourself, just Google Inside Degrees by Elias Lonsdale. This is not going to show you a mirror image, so never mind. Just Google Inside Degrees. It'll come up. Book Inside Degrees, astrology, whatever. You know how to Google. So new moons, also referred to as dark moons, is the time to plant seeds. This is the time to start something new. This is the time to set new intentions. It's like the new year, new me vibe of the month. Because the thing is that plant seeds need to be completely encompassed in darkness before they can break out of their shell and grow and bloom and blossom and germinate, all that stuff. And so the seeds that you plant in the new moon, the dark moon, they start to germinate and reap a harvest in the full moon. So there's something about welcoming in that darkness, because that's what makes you break out of the shell, your little seed self. That's what makes you break out of the shell and really like stretch into the fullness of like who and what you are, and like rise up, and take up fucking space. But the prerequisite is complete darkness. And I don't want you to forget that. And a lot of us are in a really heavy place. A lot of us are still recovering from Scorpio season. This shit was not a game this year. A lot of us are still recovering from the election. Please understand that you being in a catastrophizing everything mode is not the move. It's just not. It's just going to keep you stressed out, anxious, and then materializing and manifesting more stress and anxiety. I told you I'm going to stutter through this. Mercury retrograde, for some reason, makes my mind move faster than my mouth can. It always does that, actually, but it's like normally I can get a hold of it. Anyway, so if you find yourself shrouded in darkness, if you find yourself encompassed by uncomfortability, ooh, bet. Trust and believe. That's when the shit really starts to pop. My lip gloss is too popping for me to pop my lips. Anyway. So the first question that I have is, what's keeping, and this is part of the blind side, the dark side of the questions, what's keeping you from shooting your shot for real? For real though, what's keeping you from shooting your shot? Hydrate, light it if you need it. What's keeping you from shooting your shot and just going for it? Are there any blockages we need to know about, or is there anything holding us back? Didn't expect this to come up. 5 of Cups. A lot of us are still recovering from heaviness, from darkness. But I'm okay. And which lets me know what's keeping you from shooting your shot is that it's not time for you to completely shoot your shot yet. You still have darkness and heaviness that you're encompassed in, that you're still acquiring wisdom from. There's still a lot to learn from this uncomfortability. There's still a lot to learn from your grief, from your remorse, from your emotional conflict, from the third party situation, from that Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio placement person, from that person that you were in love with and or they're in love with you and you don't know why you're not in love with them. There's so much to learn from the distance from home. There's so much to learn from like the fact that you know you still have some emotional or spiritual bridge to cross. There's still so much to learn for a lot of you. A lot of you did go ahead and do the damn thing and shoot and shot your shot. Shooted your shot. Anyway, a lot of y'all already went ahead and did the damn thing, and it didn't turn out as planned. And I feel like that was because you chose the safe bet. There was so much that you wanted to do and you didn't know where to start, and you just went with what felt safest. You did it even though there was still all this conflict in you. You did it even though the divine told you to get grounded first, to get a firm footing on your life. And so you can't give up. You can't give up on the act of shooting your shot. You need to shoot your shot at what it is that you really fucking want. That's what Scorpio season was for us to get really fucking clear about what our like deepest, darkest, most uncomfortable desires are. The desires that if we admitted to ourselves, we would feel raw and exposed and uncomfortable. That if we said it out loud, it would rock the boat and make other people uncomfortable. Like, that thing you need to go ahead and shoot your shot at. And I think that's why the whole like, what are you aiming at versus what are you aiming for is really coming up as important, because I just heard Order My Steps, which is like an old gospel song that's random as fuck. Order my steps in your word, dear Lord. Lead me, guide me every day. Send your anointing, Father, I pray. Order my steps in your word. Please order my steps in your word. Some of you are needing to connect to the God of your understanding, talk to God, source, universe, spirit, whatever name you give them, and ask for your steps to be ordered. Order my steps. Enlighten me. Make plain to me what is the plan. Make it plain to me. Make it obvious to me. Let there not be any doubt. I don't want any ambiguity. Please order my steps. And I just feel like that surrender, that level of surrender, will yield profound results for a lot of us. Okay. Where to aim the arrow? Hey. So what do we need to be pursuing first, essentially? In Sagittarius, with this new moon in Sagittarius, what do we need to address first? What is the first thing that we're needing to plant a seed about or to pursue first? Where do we need to aim this arrow? Ooh. The Six of Pentacles with the Emperor on the bottom of the deck. Some of you, some of us, okay, I feel like what you're needing to aim your arrow at first is figuring out, are you in need or are you the one giving? Which figure do you identify with in this card? Are you in need? Are you balanced? Are you balancing? Are you being generous? Have you earned your stripes? Are you giving? I feel like the first thing that needs to be figured out first is the first thing that needs to be figured out is your relationship to your self-worth. Are you accepting breadcrumbs? Are you giving breadcrumbs? Are you giving somebody breadcrumbs of what they actually deserve? Especially if they have Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Aries, or Scorpio placements. Are you breadcrumbing somebody, or are you being breadcrumbed in some sort of way? And is that something that you can tolerate or accept? I feel like there's something about also finding financing, like finding financial investors, finding people who are interested in investing in your business, interested in investing in you as a person, in your career. Some of you, the first thing you need to address is the issue that you have with that person that has Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or Libra placements. The first thing that you're needing to address is remembering who the fuck you are. The Emperor coming out being like, hey, Aries, I am. Do you know who you are? And what are you ready to do about it? I feel like there's something here about it's time to make order of the chaos. It's time to, I also feel like there's something about putting people, like, I want to say putting people in their places. Like, there could be like a pecking order in some sort of way. Like, I'm going to prioritize the people who I experience reciprocity and mutuality with. I'm going to then prioritize the people who, nah, kind of meet me halfway. Then I'm going to, whatever. It could be like that. And that may sound superficial or, um, judgmental in some sort of way, but everybody judges. You're supposed to. This is reality. We're not in the fucking 5D. We're mastering the 3D right now. So be here now. Thanks. Um, that was for all my woo woo. Oh, we're in the 5D. We don't judge and there's no order. We're all equal, blah, blah, blah. We are still, you have a physical body. And yes, you have a spirit. But the reason you have a physical body is so that you can have a vehicle to navigate this 3D reality. So let's make sure that we're getting masterful in the 3D before we go worrying about the 4D and the 5D and end up creating some like spiritual psychosis and cognitive dissonance, even more than we already have. Anyway, I feel like what we're supposed to be pursuing first is balance, letting the divine turn the tables, allowing yourself to experience harmony inside of your physical body, and allowing yourself to experience harmony by way of addressing any worthiness issues. And then you're able to really update any financial issues. And then you're able to get a very clear picture on what parts of you, what skills or talents or gifts that you possess that you are able to rely on, that you're able to develop, that you're able to really like get disciplined and structured with. The thing is like, can you create a plan and stick to it? Hydrate. Can you set out these certain things for yourself to do every day and actually do them? For some of you, that's very easy. For some of you, it's a hard no. And so how is it that what message is that sending to the divine about what you're able to handle? Can you be entrusted with if you don't even really show up for yourself in that structured and disciplined way? How many times have you said you were going to start the workout plan? How many times have you said that you are going to change your diet? How often, what's your success rate when on initiating new things? Or do you just hop from one thing to the other? And that's coming from somebody with probably a healthy dose of ADD, ADHD, whatever. There's the A's, the D's, the H's, they're all kinds of mixed in the D's. it's just like, how long are you going to let those things be an excuse? Because what I will tell you, even as of last night, when I say Sagittarius is the season of I understand, and then Mercury retrograding in Sagittarius during Sagittarius season, there's some really new shit that you're going to be understanding about yourself, about your capacities, about your capabilities, about your intentions, about also your past, about possibly traumas. Like, this is random, but some of you, your dad's going to help you out with something. Your dad, your boss, a professor, a coach, an uncle, somebody that's an older masculine is going to be pouring into you or investing in you in some sort of way, or could be giving you money in some sort of way. Maybe a sugar daddy, but there could be something there about finances coming your way, like things being given to you, bestowed upon you in some sort of way. Um, but I feel like what we're needing to pursue first, what we're needing to aim for is structure, discipline, a new foundation, harmony with the 6, and then a new foundation with the 4. Because the thing is, a lot of us mistake thinking that, oh, once I get this new thing in place, once I get everything, once I get the foundation set, then I'll experience harmony. No, that's an inside job. You experience harmony. You can experience harmony in the midst of the chaos, but you don't need things, you don't need to cross certain things off the list for you to experience harmony internally. And so I feel like there's something coming up about, like, we're going to be just deeply understanding ourselves in a whole new way than we have before. And I feel like there's a big period of release, like really letting things go. Anyway, what happens when you hit the target? If you aim for this thing and you allow yourself to be disciplined and structured about it and consistent, you turn yourself into somebody that you rely on. What happens when you hit the target? It may take a while for you to see. But what happens when you, whatever it is you're aiming for, it's going to reveal to you the blinders that you've had on, the intuition, the creativity you've put on the back burner, the way that you've leaned way too much on logic, that you're out here making logical decisions when you're supposed to be making spiritual decisions. And there's something about you, when you strive for, when you hit the target, the fruit of your labor comes. The fruit of your labor comes when you put these swords down, when you stop being so defensive, when you stop with the willful blindness, when you stop with the defense mechanisms or coping mechanisms. All of a sudden peace comes in, and that peace and that stillness and that harmony and that new mental foundation gets you paid, baby. It ushers in this whole new life. It ushers in an influx of good physical health, an influx of time, an influx of resources, some sort of new chapter, maybe new land, maybe new property. Something of value absolutely is given. Please clarify that 2 of Swords. What are we not seeing clearly? Well, it is a new moon, a dark moon, so your emotions are naturally going to put a little bit back on the... It is a new moon, dark moon, so naturally your emotions are going to be put on the back burner a little bit. Ooh, this retrograde. And what we're not seeing clearly is that there is still a lot of abandonment wounds to uproot. There's stuff with trauma bonds, there's stuff with people pleasing, there's these wounds of feeling like an outsider or feeling left out in the cold, feeling um given up on, conflict, which has generated a lot of conflict in your self-worth and therefore some conflict in your money. And once you spend some time, I feel like I did this deeply last night for a long time. I hung out with my inner child so much last night that I feel like I thought I had already done this integration work, but I felt like I integrated her in a way that I haven't ever before. And I feel whole. I feel fuller. I feel more like myself. I feel more playful. I feel free. I feel ripping and roaring, ready to go. And so for a lot of us, you know, Sagittarius energy is quite playful. And there's something about maybe you need to spend some time calling in your inner child. Literally, I was in bed and I was like, "Hey," it almost got me choked up for a sec when I say her name, because that's what I used to, when I was little, everybody called me Jilly Bean. And I was like, "Hey, Jilly Bean, come hang out with me." And she just came like, and we're doing this in the theater of our mind. Let shit get weird. Imagine and also take note of what age when you call in your higher self. I mean, when you call in your inner child, take note of what age they appear to you as. And she was little. She was like little baby me, like 3, 4, maybe 3 to 5. Um, and just ask them what they need. They will tell you. And let the healing begin. I also feel like, ooh, this is a word and this is going to be uncomfortable. So brace yourself. When you hit the target, the blindfold comes off about the dead weight you're carrying around. Some of you are hanging out with some just ain't shit people. Some of y'all are prioritizing partying and bullshit and raving and learning how to flow. And some of us are in it, and I say us because if it's not me, it's you. If it's not you, it's me. There's something there with like a lot of us are entertaining just dead weight activities, dead weight people. I feel like it's Libra season. I'm being so like judgy, but I am a Libra rising. So there's something about, but also that judginess comes from that Sagittarian bluntness. Often Sagittarians don't give a fuck, don't give a half a fuck, and will just say, and then they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I said that." Once they see the look on someone's face, but and then the other half of the Sagittarians are like, I see that look on your face. Now you know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't care if you upset and you feel some type of way. I said what I said. I prefer those. Anyway, some of us, when we hit the target, the blindfold gets removed and you start to see the issues in the company that you've been keeping, the people that you've been going to war for, that you've been taking the brunt of the storm for. Would they do that for you? I do feel like you hit the target before you realize that you hit the target. And a lot of us are going to have to be patient for the fruit of our labor to come in. What's that fruit look like? Just being nosy. The Three of Pentacles. It's like rebuilding atop the rubble. I feel like what that the fruit looks like for a lot of us, it's a team. There are people or a professional or a mentor, or somebody that can take a task off your hands. Like there's something that you want to delegate. Like for me, I would love to have like people to help me with camera stuff and editing and uploading. And I just would love to be the talent. I would love to just sit here, someone press a button, and I get to record and film, and that's it. But all of the editing and clipping pieces together and audio, making it look, I don't want to do all that, but I'm wearing a lot of hats. I use me as an example, and I feel like for a lot of us, the fruit of the labor is like a new blueprint, someone to help you with the direction, someone that's more masterful in something coming in and being able to take a task off your hands. I feel like collaboration for a lot of us is how that collaboration and co-creation, like you feeling really rock solid in you co-creating with the God of your understanding, and it generates a very specific kind of peace inside of you, and it generates a very specific new foundation in the realm of your mind where life starts to feel way more reverent. Please clarify this Ace of Pentacles. How does that materialize? So, I mean, this is worth the work. The Six of Swords. More travel. Being able to move more freely about the cabin. Being able to turn your back on the bullshit. I feel like getting the resources to get really harmonious in the realm of your mind. There could be offers coming in from somebody with Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius placements. Please continue. How does that Ace of Pentacles materialize? I feel like there's somebody gets some fuck you money. That's how it feels like. The kind of money where I can just be like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, you know? I wish that for you so much. I wish that for you so hard, babe. I really, really do. Because I know a lot of you have people in your place of employment or people in your family, maybe even, that you really just want to say a nice, hard, stern fuck you to. But you ain't got the money to do it. And I feel like if you let yourself be diligent, if you keep working hard, yes. If you keep working hard, you end that cycle in the realm of the mind that perpetuates that uncomfortable situation. You get the victim mode over with. You get the victimized version of you gets out of the driver's seat, and then all of a sudden there's multiple streams of income. Diving deeper into your creativity, diving deeper into maybe even healing modalities, and breaking free from traditions or institutions, or there's just a breaking free that gets to happen. The ability to hustle just the way that you like, the ability to love and be creative the way that you like. There also could be like an apology that comes in. Yeah, I bet there will be. When you make it, there's going to be some people who are like, oh, well, hey, big head, I know I didn't respond, or I know I did this, or I know I did. Boy, bye. I also feel like when you make it, you're going to start vibrating at a frequency that attracts other people that have made it in that same way when you hit that target. And there could be lots of new feelings, lots of new friends, lots of new connections. So I'm telling you, whatever dead weight you've been carrying around, I feel like you finally get to relinquish those, like you get to be free of those energies, we'll say. And new fresh energy comes in. Okay, now lastly, I just want to see, is there anything that Source has to say? What does Source have to say? Breathe. No questions, no direction for this new moon in Sagittarius. God, what do you have to say? I said, don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Stop fighting the surrender that is required. Stop trying to use logic when God is out here trying to lead you. The divine is trying to lead you. The universe, source, highest intelligence is trying to lead you. And if you would surrender and stop with the hopelessness, the pace picks up. Things start to move. Things start to move fast. There's this new cycle that gets initiated in the realm of your physical, spiritual, sexual energy. Reciprocity starts to come in. But you have to be receptive, because that's the thing. Even with the star reverse, you see all this water that they're pouring out of this pitcher. Like the divine has been trying to pour into you, but you're like, full. This pitcher's full. I'm full to capacity, and it's just like, no, you're not. You just don't want to surrender. And I feel like you've been dreaming real big lately. Ooh. And the shadows that came to light in in Scorpio season are to be processed and understood in Sagittarius and Capricorn season. I'll say that again. The darkness and the heaviness and the shadow work that was initiated in Scorpio season is to be processed and finished, or, moved to completion by Capricorn season. We are being called to get off the fence, to make decisions, to be real honest with ourselves about what has a hold on us, what is weighing us down, what's going on with our attachment styles, what's going on with your inner child, who has a lot of passion bound up. Like it's like your inner child is holding on to a lot of your passion, a lot of your decisiveness. And I think a lot of you think that you're being called to like be free and just, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, was just like, you're going to be called into a damn STD if you keep fucking around like that. I feel like Source is telling us to get very vulnerable and naked and bare with them, with the God of your understanding, not your partner necessarily, not yet. Establish intimacy with your higher self and establish intimacy with your shadow. Then you will know how to really experience intimacy with these other people, these people that are in your lives. But you see all that nakedness there? There's something around vulnerability. And I feel like we're entering this part of our spiritual journey where we got to do the shadow work. We got to face the ugly stuff. You thought you already faced it, but there's another layer down there. A lot of us are about to have to, if you're not already there, you're about to go into like the emotional basement, in that scary room in the emotional basement. And what happens if we go there? What happens if we really take it there? If we really let ourselves do this deep, ugly shadow work, what's the outcome? Wow. You won't need your vices so much. You won't care about that. You won't care about sex so much. You won't care about drinking or smoking or numbing. You won't need to hang out with, your friends to distract you so much. You won't have to keep yourself so busy. You won't dabble in debauchery so much. There will be forward momentum. There will be recognition, rewards for some of us, public success and recognition. There will be harmony that's established in the realm of your spirit, harmony established in the realm of your physical, spiritual, and sexual energy. And completion, period. The ability to move way more freely about the cabin. There's this overwhelming sense of protection. Stuff for you to be congratulated for. And the end of a fight. Please clarify the star reversed. Ooh. The Emperor, the Five of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the Ten of Pentacles reversed. So a lot of us are struggling to surrender and let ourselves be guided because we think we know it all. Or we have been way too caught up in our masculine energy. And some of us are struggling to surrender because we're being fueled by the shady business that happened in the past, fueled by the transgressions that were done towards us, fueled by the trials and tribulations, and like the I'll get you back, watch me thrive, la la, whatever it is. We've been fueled by that. And it's caused us to take routes towards quicksand, towards mud versus solid territory. If you have Aries or Scorpio placements, I feel like you have really got to work on grudges. Because the thing is, even as an Aries sun, yeah, Aries energy, they technically have no relational past because they're the first sign. But the rest of your 12 planets have something to say about the way you hold grudges or not. All your planets aren't in Aries, and so all your planets aren't, whatever. So you know what I mean? But there's something about, if you have Aries or Scorpio placements, you've really got to work on acceptance, which is the gateway drug to forgiveness. True forgiveness. Especially, okay, I feel like it's weird because we're not in a season of the father, and maybe this is preparatory work for Capricorn season, but I feel like a lot of us are struggling to surrender to the divine because we want to be rebellious as fuck, and because a lot of us are still rebelling against our parents. You a whole grown ass 30 years old, or whatever, you're a whole adult and you're still rebelling against your parent in some way, subconsciously. And so there's something about surrendering to the fact that there's a lot that you need to accept about your father. There's a lot, or the lack thereof. You need to accept that there's still so much to unpack and release about your family and your relationship to them, and or lack of relationship to them. And when we peel back the layers of our issues around surrender and vulnerability and receiving direction, things pick up. Things move very quickly. All right, I didn't mean for this video to be an hour long. But what it's giving is you're not in control. You're not in control anyway. All you can control is what you voluntarily put into your body, whether you react or respond, and what you do about your intentions. Heh, got you. So, what are you going to do about your intentions? What are you putting in your body? Are you going to let yourself react or respond? What are you aiming at versus what are you aiming for? I love you. Tap into that wildness. Surrender to that wildness. I love you. You got this. Oh, you fuckface. This remote is just. It's my fault. I have no one to blame. I just refuse, and I could easily outstretch my hand and turn this bitch off.